Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. There's a lot to cover. I literally don't even know where to begin. I'm going to try and take it slow. I'm going to do like what have you. If you've been in this market for a while, you're going to understand exactly what I'm saying. If you're relatively new here, and I need to keep saying this because I do see that I'm getting new subscribers, the view count is changing. I understand that the market is quite dynamic with people who enter the market, some of them who may leave because of impatience or for whatever might be happening in the market that day. But there is a constant within this market. And it's basically this idea of fear, lying, and like something else that's also in the mix. I can't find the word off the top of my head right now. Historically, within the cryptocurrency market, we tend to have major events, whether it's a halving, whether it's a merge, whether it's a hard fork, a soft fork, an upgrade. You name it, they all have different kinds of names. But there's always this really weird phenomenon that takes place where when this event happens, if you've been in the market before, you anticipate that something good is going to happen to prices. It's just part of the deal. What ends up happening, however, is, and as I mentioned before, you can even go back and look at the other videos, the expectation is that Bitcoin is going to go over $100,000 plus over the course of this year. What ends up happening is that after the event, after the merge, after the halving, after the upgrade, after the blah, 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 prices tend to always fall because people treat it as a type of a sell the news event. That's what I mean. That's the first part of the lie, is that you are being told that you should sell off your crypto. There was also someone recently in the news who said something along the lines of, he was like, sell it and forget it. And he was talking about the crypto market. And it was basically like, when prices are going down, you should sell your coins and then forget about the market and re-enter it a couple of months later. And the problem is, I can't make a video for everything. I can't read a sentence and go, oh my gosh, like it's exhausting, the amount of news that's out there. That's why we have like a news of the day kind of thing that's been going on for a while. The purpose of financial markets, or rather a large portion of the purchase of these markets that we see around the world, real estate, stocks, ETFs, crypto, housing, you name it, has to do with flushing out weaklings, the weak hands, the non-diamond hands, the leafs, whatever phrase you want to throw there. And it almost seems nearly impossible, because you would sit there and you go, well, why would rich people not want us in this market? The market seems open and fair and free. We should, why would they not want us in it? Why should we not be dwelling or using or trying to make money from it? For whatever the reason is, and I hope I never become this evil, or this person living in a castle, stroking a hairless cat. It comes, and I mean, there's an unprecedented level of greed that is almost impossible to understand unless you actually sit around and hear people having these kinds of conversations. When I scream a lot of times that the crypto market is for you and you are meant to be the owners of this market and share in its, I don't want to use the word bounty, that's a bit too intense. It's literally what I mean. When prices fall down, it's calculated. They make sure that you are afraid, you become afraid, you shake, you begin to wither, and you question everything that you've been going through, everything that you've seen. Is why a lot of times I make sure to reiterate, I'm like, this is daily news. This is the news that we get daily. I think there's maybe once or twice in 8 years, that I didn't get to make a video, and that was because that day I was traveling. Like I literally, like I could not physically do it while I was traveling. Every other day since has only been good news. Even when we were getting the terrifying FTX, oh no, oh my gosh, look what's happening to the market news. Besides everything Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX, everything was good in the news. So over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks, you noticed that prices were going down. I saw the shock. I saw the fear. I saw the disruptions on Twitter, and people, whenever the prices are going down, people begin to like fight more internally and externally as well. People are screaming and having all these issues online, and people get very, very angry. And of course, this changes immediately whenever prices are going back up. It's a very weird situation. One of the main issues is that I can never tell you what to do with your money. It is mathematically, like I can't physically make you do anything. But whenever I try to hint, I'm like, listen, you see what's happening right now. This is all by design. This is happening for a particular reason, and it's mainly because they're trying to flush you out of the market. That's why I said if you've been in this market before, you've seen this. You understand when these situations happen, and it's actually quite obvious when it's taking place, because you hear the loudness of people telling you it's time to be afraid, telling you it's time to be, you gotta get out of the market. Something's wrong. Are we gonna fall a lot lower? I don't know this guy's name. He's one of the analysts, and I don't cover him because he's always consistently been wrong. But the problem is that he has a very loud platform and large voice and all these other things. He mentioned, I think is about a week and a half ago, that he said people should be afraid of the market because Bitcoin's getting ready to fall back down to, I think he said $29,000 or $30,000. It was somewhere around there. He was like, I recommend people basically selling and then getting back into the market. And I was like, do you understand how irresponsible that is of you to know that that's a lie and blatantly tell people that they should be leaving this market? I don't know inherently why people do it, or why people who have $14 billion will still continue to lie to other people just to get another buck, just to have an extra dollar in their pocket. But it's something that happens. Sorry for like the huge segue, but it's basically because I don't know if you've been paying attention. Once again, the last couple of days, the market's doing just fine. Even when we have dips of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10%, Bitcoin goes down by $11,000. The optimism, and it's not even just optimism, it is the reality of the situation, is that everything is still intact. Nothing has really broken or changed. I'm going to show you the first popular thing that's floating around, and I'll try and explain it as best I can. And then I'll show you in sequence about 5 or 6 other things that have also taken place, which for some reason end up popping back in the news when prices go back up, to literally, and I can only think of it this way, as like of course prices went back up, but then they look at you and they go, oh, you sold? Well, who told you to sell your coins? And it's like, you told me to be completely afraid and to get out of the market. It's a very weird space. I've mentioned that many, many times before. One of the things that always ends up re-happening when prices go back up, and to his credit, he kind of says this all the time. This isn't like he's just now saying this because prices are green again kind of thing. PlanB is back in the news, and I like to think, because of the way that he talks, I don't know if you've ever heard him literally talk. He has an accent, like a bit of a cadence to his voice when he like expresses things. But I think it's very important, and I say it in this way. If the cryptocurrency market is too much for you, I completely understand, and I've said in many other years, I get it. It's not for everyone. I've had a lot of friends, family members, people trying to get into the market over, the years, not just this year, over the years. And it's a lot for them. They can't take the actual swings up and down. But what it ends up always happening is, especially friends who I don't talk to that often, there's always a reemergence of the friendship when they see that prices are going back up, or they realize that I told them to buy before and they didn't, not that they didn't pay attention, but they didn't want to listen. And it's kind of like, of course I'm going to get back into the market when I see that the prices are going back up. But this realization that they could have bought before always ends up being something. So PlanB is back in the news, relatively stating what he did before. But I want people to intently listen to really understand that what we are seeing is what has happened exactly before in the market. What you're experiencing now, either fear or joy, terror or elatement, is elatement a word, is something that happens every single cycle. If you get a chance, and if you have, a couple minutes of your day, look back at the movements of every single halving. It's always the same over and over and over. It's this elatement, dip in price, and then we move up for a year and a half. And it's during this year and a half that everyone is like, oh my gosh, of course this was going to happen. But the before period is always very question marky for people. And I guess you need to have been here for a while to really grab it, if that makes any sense. PlanB has stated that Bitcoin can reach six figures before the end of this year. In a new strategy session, okay, that's quite intense, he told people online that based on prior history, this is what I keep saying, none of this is new. People who've been in the market for a while, I see people posting stuff and they're acting as if you've never experienced this before. You've never seen a move down. You've never seen prices drop and then move back up. And then once again, when you see the news that comes after this, it's all in sequence. I don't want you to say the word, the phrases, it's all planned. But gosh darn it, 8 years is a heck of a run to see the same thing over and over and over yearly. He said Bitcoin's price is likely to double the current value to restore people who are mining Bitcoin to actually stop their losses due to the April halving. I'll try and explain it this way as best I can, because it's something that I get but cannot explain and in its entirety. For some reason, so it's more than just supply and demand. I don't know exactly what does it. We know that the demand is very high, the supply is very short. And of course, this intensifies every single halving. Every 4 years, it gets stronger and stronger. But always, whatever it costs to mine a Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin always surpasses that value, usually by double, a couple of months after the halving. Once again, I've seen it taking place multiple times, but cannot give you the actual mathematics or the metrics as to why it happens. But it always takes place. All the calls that we've been getting for a $100,000, $120,000, or $150,000 Bitcoin have come from that idea. No matter what's happened before in the past, Bitcoin's value always goes double or more the value that people who are mining Bitcoin are currently paying for electricity. Always. It's always happened, and it usually happens a couple of months after the actual halving has taken place. He said, what's next for 2024? It is inevitable that we reach $100,000, in my opinion, because revenue has to recover. If people who are mining Bitcoin are paying $60,000 per coin to mine, and the coin that comes out is worth $60,000, people shut off their machines. In order for the actual people to continue mining and to continue the network, The price has to increase so that it's worth it for them to be able to actually mine Bitcoin. It's literally always been this way. He said mining revenue because of the halving did halve. All the people mining, the entire industry has seen its revenue drop by 50% and it has to recover. Usually, the last 3 halvings, it did recover within 4 to 8 months. So that's well within this year of 2024. And the only way for mining revenue to recover is the price doubles. So estimating from the current price of $60,000, we should be well above $100,000 this year. Once again, I cannot explain the math. I do not know exactly why it happens. But every single halving, the same exact thing takes place. Because there's only 1 or 2 options. Bitcoin's value has to go up, or people turn off their machines because mining Bitcoin is no longer worth it. And then Bitcoin goes to 0. There is no in between. Have you ever heard it's not even a theory, it's a truthy. Bitcoin is either going to 0 or it's going to $1 million. There's no gray area within that discussion. It's impossible mathematically. Mathematically, it's literally impossible. This is an impossibility for Bitcoin to stay at $60,000 forever when the amount of coins that are coming out every 4 years gets cut in half. Even if the demand remained the same, you cannot eternally purchase Bitcoin. There's only so much coming out of the machines, only so much on crypto exchanges. The price has to actually go up. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In the future, the value of Bitcoin is either going to complete 0. Everyone on the planet collectively says this isn't worth it. We don't like Bitcoin. I can't pronounce it. I don't like computers. And then stops using the network, or this growth continues. Even if we just have the same people who are in the market right now, no one else, just the people who are in the market who continuously buy at the pace that they're currently buying, even if you cut that in half by the actual, amount that's being purchased or bought, Bitcoin still has to hit $1 million just because of the current level of demand. And it's the same exact way for the halving. It's literally the same over and over and over. But, and here's one of the, the biggest buts in the room. The problem is that the fundamentals of Bitcoin are so important. But I would gather that less than 10% of people in the space actually pay attention to it. When I bring you videos about retirement funds investing in Bitcoin, pension funds buying up Bitcoin, sovereign states buying up Bitcoin, these institutions, these banks, and I can tell, I understand it's not what you want. It's not this company just bought 80 million Bitcoin and Bitcoin went up. That's not, that's not the reality of anything. So many people are just focused on the immediate price. Not really. Remember that other video that I made where the title was something along the lines of we just won? You have to understand what it means for these people to get into this space who are accumulating and buying Bitcoin. If it was just us, me and you and your friend Larry who were buying crypto, cool. We'd eventually in the next 30, 40, 50 years would actually get to $1 million Bitcoin still, mathematically, logically. When you talk about these other industries buying up as much Bitcoin as possible, the illusion that they give you in the news, you've seen it before. Yeah, Bitcoin had a pretty rough day, so we're not sure what's going on. These companies are lying to you. They know exactly what's going on, because if we're getting the news daily, they're getting the amount of data that they have on this market is something that we completely can't fathom. If we know that daily, for those of you who missed it a couple of days before, when prices were red and were completely going down, All of the news was that even just from BlackRock, just from Fidelity. Now, put these each in their own separate box. And just from the activity that we saw from the other ETFs around the world, each industry, Fidelity as its own, BlackRock as its own, the other ETFs around the world as their own, were still all buying the equivalent of the amount of Bitcoin that was mined daily. Each of them were getting over 450 Bitcoin daily while prices were going down. The illusion that you are fed is that, well, something must be wrong. Bitcoin so-and-so, and so maybe the halving's already priced in, something blah, 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 blah. And it keeps getting louder and louder to the point where you get afraid and you go, ah, crap, maybe I miscalculated. Why did I do this? Why am I in this market? And then what ends up happening? Every single time the price goes down, we get whale news because we can see on the chain, we can see on the charts. We can see this buying pressure continuing, but it's in such small increments from multiple different places. And the news continuously tells you to be sad and upset and not really understand what's going on. Well, something must be wrong with Bitcoin. Well, let's just come back in 2025. And then the price goes up. The price, was it 2 days ago? I woke up and the price was up by like 9% for Bitcoin. And I was like, yeah, of course. Because the buying pressure couldn't contain it anymore. No matter how much they lie or continue to tell you to be scared and to get out of the market, of course the price is going to go back up because of the current level of demand. We're still not seeing like retail investors even entering the market yet. Retail investors basically being code words for like normal people and or people who are like not in our market yet. These people tend to only enter, and I say this nicely, tend to only enter when they realize that they could have made money but didn't, and they tend to not know how markets work. I'm trying to choose my words very nicely. It's basically normal people who don't have a lot of money, who are trying to make ends meet, but then they realize that they could have made a lot of money in the cryptocurrency market, so they kind of FOMO into all markets whenever things are doing really well. It's kind of like seeing like Tesla stock or Nvidia stock and other things like that when they're low and hearing about it in the news that it went from $1 to $15 and they don't care. But the moment it goes to, $800 per share, that's when they care because they realize I could have made money, but they always end up getting in like at the end of the train. Yeah, it's a little cringy when you have to say it that way, but that's basically exactly what it is. We've always have seen the price of Bitcoin double after the halving. It's something that has to happen. It's something that literally takes place for the actual market to be able to continue. PlanB also says his stock to flow model, which compares the amount of a commodity in circulation divided by the amount produced each year, suggests that Bitcoin will hit a price target of $500,000 within the next 4 years. PlanB is the same exact guy. So the stock to flow model used to be a model that was basically against gold, and the entire idea was that Bitcoin would become rarer than gold. I'm not sure if you saw me ranting and raving in one of the other videos quite recently, for those of you who missed it. Bitcoin is now officially rarer than gold. It is twice as rare as gold. And if you think that people haven't paid attention or are not paying attention, they are. I told you that before. Look at the timing. Why do you think BlackRock and all these other companies got into the market in January, before Bitcoin became the rarest asset on the planet? Do you think their timing was random, or do you think they were trying to front run the market to get as much as they could before everyone else also figures this out? And the idea of a $500,000 Bitcoin, for those of you who also aren't exactly aware, is that one of the main discussions right now is that we might actually be at the end of cycles. So even this dip that we recently saw that lasted about a good 12, 13 days or something like that, normally would have lasted about 3 times, maybe 4 times longer. But the problem is that institutions are buying all the time. So any dip is always now short-lived because no institution is waiting for another institution to buy up the Bitcoin that they could have bought. Do you understand? If you have 18 companies and they see BlackRock is on the playground and prices have fallen, they're not going to wait for BlackRock to walk forward. They're all going to take 3 steps forward to start buying. The problem is that there's not a lot of Bitcoin left. There's not a lot on the table. So every purchase moves up the price until you get someone, and this is put your tinfoil bathing suit on. I don't know if this is all connected in some sort of way, but I would find it hard to believe if it wasn't. As far as we know that people are manipulating this market to move the prices down. We've seen it years ago. I don't know what their methods are now. Years ago, it used to be dumping coins. So an institution, a bank, a person, we've gone over this, would take their coins and they would put it onto a crypto exchange, maybe Coinbase or Binance, whatever the largest name is. And it would scare the market. The idea is if someone has 38,000 Bitcoin and they throw it onto a crypto exchange, well, they're getting ready to sell. Why would you put it onto an exchange? And years ago, what they used to do is just leave those coins there, or they would have a sell order that couldn't really be filled. It had a whole bunch of prerequisites and other things that you had to be very specific to get that sell order actually going. But other people would begin to sell. Why? Because the news immediately would be, there's a person who put a purpose, or there's a so, and people would start freaking out that all these coins had moved on, and they would assume that this person knew something that they didn't. So they would start issuing sell orders, and when the sells become too big, prices began to cascade. And like clockwork, this happened like 9 times. I mean, it was constant until like maybe early 2020s when it kind of stopped. These people would do one of 2 things. They would drop the sell order, or they would move all their coins off of the crypto exchange after a large purchase had happened. So the prices are falling. This wallet address and many other wallet addresses would start buying up hundreds of Bitcoin in mass from everyone who was selling. And they were always smaller retail holders. Always, 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 always. Not some of the ways, all the ways. If you watch the channel all the time, you'll even see whenever we hear that there's a dip in price and prices go down, the analytics companies, the Sentiment, the Glassnode, the Arkham Intelligence, they always say like who's selling because they can see the actual wallet addresses and they have them in their matrix or whatever they're using for their analytics. And they can see the long-term wallets, the wallets who've been in the market for a very long time and have bought and held or are buying and not selling. And they can see wallets that have been in the market for less than 6 months. And the rich people know that if you make these wallets scared, because they're brand new to the market, they're probably brand new to every single market. Like I told you before, a lot of people who are in crypto, this is their first time in some kind of finance. They're not used to markets, any markets moving up and down. It's the same exact thing when you have people who are in the stock market. The stocks go up and down. People get terrified. People don't understand what's going on because they didn't actually pay attention or read about the market they were trying to get into before. This is why I always say keep reading about the cryptocurrency market to make sure that you learn more. So when you have these new people getting into the market, it's the same exact thing with the housing market. If you see that a property was 250 and that was listed for 235, you go, oh, there's a housing market crash. And it's like, no, that person's just trying to sell. So what they do is they see that these wallets haven't been around for a very long time and they know that it's very easy to shake them. You are not meant to be in this market. I am not meant to be in this market. This market is now only for the wealthy. When you talk about these people are buying up 10, 15,000 Bitcoin in one go, who do you think that 15,000 Bitcoin came from? It's the people who are new to the market every single cycle, every single year who sold their coins back onto the market. And then we hear that there's a lot of whale activity, huge purchases. Someone just bought $38 million worth of Bitcoin, $112 million worth of Bitcoin. MicroStrategy enters the news. MicroStrategy just bought 122 extra Bitcoin. This company also just did so and so and so. We get the news while prices are dropping. This ETF, that ETF, BlackRock, Fidelity, ABC, 123, all bought the entire equivalent of the daily mined Bitcoin. And then prices start going back up. And I'm like, whoa, that's weird. How did that happen? That's never taken place before. Every single time. And it's done on purpose. It's done in every single market. Don't you ever forget when 2020 and 2021 was taking place and we had the entire Wall Street bets thing. I showed you a video. I put a link into, I don't know when that video, when the exact date that I made it. There's a clip of this guy, multiple of them. There were multiple of these people on CNBC, but there was one in particular. Don't you ever forget. They were asking this guy about his hedge fund who was losing money because they had placed all the shorts while everyone else was buying GameStop and Bed Bath & Beyond and all these other things. Why he was discontent. They never say, why are you angry because you're losing money? Why are you so discontent right now? And he said, I don't understand why all these people, normal people, everyday normal people, why they're all in the markets. You guys are wasting your time. I think young guys should be out there looking for a job, getting married, finding a girlfriend. And I was like, the question was, normal people figured out ways to make 4 figures and 5 figures through this stock. And you said, they shouldn't be doing that. Go outside, go find a girlfriend, go be happy somewhere. They don't want us in the market. They don't want us in any market. Why do you think these companies and corporations are buying up all the homes? When you control everything, you control everything. If you own all the homes, you dictate the prices for rent. If you own all the gold and silver, you manipulate the market by how much you put out there. Same exact thing with the diamond industry. When you own all the Bitcoin and you are already wealthy and it goes to $1 million per coin, you are king of the world. Now, what do you do to make sure that you ensure that and that no one else can step on your toes? You tell normal people to get out of the market, to be terrified, to be afraid. Over and over and over and over and over again. How many times in 2016, 17, and 18 did we have news stories? All these billionaires. That's when I actually used to bring you like the billionaire news. Bitcoin is a farce. I don't care for it. And no, it's not just Jamie Dimon. It's not just Warren Buffett. There were dozens of these people. And I used to always say, I was like, there's certain foods that I don't like to eat, but I'm not mentioning that in every single video that I make. These people, they were going to Davos. They were going to all these world events. They were hanging out with the IMF, and they constantly were standing on stage talking about Bitcoin. And I was like, there's a reason why they're all so afraid and all talking about this one thing. Why are they trying to get you so intently out of the market? And then we started having news that this billionaire in Indonesia, he loves Bitcoin. The same billionaire who told you before from this place, oh my gosh, he also loves Bitcoin. The guy in Mexico, he came forward. He was like, yeah, a huge portion of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. And it's like, so you all made sure to lie over and over and over again. Consistently, constantly. It's the weirdest thing in the entire world. We can totally live on a planet where everyone has some Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's at $10 million per coin, and everyone has a big amount of change in their pocket. Why do you consistently feel the need to make sure that you are on the verge of becoming a trillionaire while everyone else doesn't have $100 in their bank account? Why this deep desire? You're already rich. Why lie? Why not help other people? It's the weirdest thing in the entire world. drives me nuts if you haven't been able to see it. The idea is that cycles might actually be over because any dip is currently being bought up. And people think that this will only accelerate as, of course, Bitcoin goes higher in price. If people value a stock less at 15 and more at 800, any dip to 780 for that stock's price is going to be short-lived because people know that it was previously 800. And if it's 800, it can go to 810. And people won't let it fall because they'll continue just buying it up. He said, I updated the stock to flow model. Parameters did not change much. The 2024 to 2028 target is still around $500,000 on average. Stock B is actually one of those people who, much like Cathie Wood, actually believes that by 2029 we will actually have an $800,000 to a $1.5 million Bitcoin, but they get a lot of flack, a lot of pushback from the community. I think it's because even people within the market don't understand the laws of supply and demand and how little Bitcoin there actually is. So I think when you hear those numbers, it seems unfathomable. I mean, to be honest, back when I got into the space, if you told me we were going to have a $70,000 Bitcoin, I was like, in the year 3000? No, it wouldn't have made any sense to my mind. So now when we're at where we are in price, 100K is totally believable because it's not that far up from 74,000. When you say 500,000, also seems plausible, but I think people think the time frame is a lot longer. When all the Bitcoin that is created per day is gone and bought up every day, all that's left to buy is what's on crypto exchanges. And that number continues dwindling daily. Because the people who are buying from the ETFs and in general, they're not buying from the people who are mining the coins. He said, also note that the error also goes down after the halving. So there is a halving, the model value goes up, and of course it takes some time. The Bitcoin price has a lag to catch up with the model value. Every halving, it's the same. It will also be true this halving, in my opinion. So we see the error already going down. It will go down again because the price will not be $500,000, of course, in May. It will slowly over the months go into that price model. That's the actual, is the chart here? Yeah, this is the chart he's talking about. The gray is where Bitcoin's price goes according to his model, but it never follows the exact gray line. It always has these like divergences up and down and other things like that. And we are currently at the dark blue, which usually then goes to red and then to yellow. This area right here is the 2020s. Remember when things were not too fantastical at a couple of years ago. So that's one of the generalized ideas. Yeah, I mean, bit of a different video, but my exhaustion is extreme at this point. I know, I get it, I understand. I know a lot of you are listening. I totally get it. But I see the difference in my views, in people on Twitter, in so many different ways when the prices begin to go down. It's an immediate loss of faith. And faith is also a very intense word, but you understand what I mean. Loss of understanding. It's instantaneous. No one, the masses, I'll change that too. The masses are not paying attention to what's actually taking place, to the accumulation, to how much money is flowing into this space. You see prices going down and you don't understand that people are still buying. It doesn't make sense to the mind. How can prices still be going down, but all this accumulation, it just doesn't match up. My arms are flailing, and I mean literally, I look crazy in this room right now. They're flailing all over the place. Yeah, the market will do just fine. Every single dip that we've had, and it's so sad, every single one has just been to flush people out of the market. When we hit a $100,000 Bitcoin, the people on CNBC and all these other news platforms are going to be euphoric. And they're going to be talking about, well, of course it was going to go there. And you're going to notice the same people who've been telling you to sell are also like, yeah, I'm in the market as well. It's nonsense. It's so completely insane. Especially even when more mathematically, it would be better if they got more people into the market. It would be far more robust. But the desire for these people to own everything is insane. It's so completely out there. So I'll do my best, as always, to bring you the news daily, to try and warn you from the nonsense that goes on. When people are lying and I see that they're outwardly lying and telling you, I'll try my best to inform you of it, like I did years ago with all those other weird YouTubers who were like, yeah, Bitcoin's going down to 2,000. And I was like, remember I used to say, like, why? You have no excuse. Why are you lying to people and telling them that Bitcoin has to go down to $2,000 to get back to 45,000? What logic do you have other than trying to scare people to get them out of this market? It's always the same, over and over and over. Always, always, always. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to do it for this weird video. Hope you're all doing well. Hope your week's going great. Hope you're taking care of yourself and going to movies and having fun and watching nice things and making sure to treat yourself. Like, don't buy like a new car or some new shoes unless you like physically need new shoes, but do something nice for yourself. Spend $10, go do something nice, go buy something nice, order some food in or something like that. Make sure your day is good. Yeah, I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever the heck you might be. I do hope it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. You can even see on the chart right here, the gray line is 2026, 2028. And this is the $1 million line right here. Yeah, we're going to see what's going to take place. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.